I don't know. Sorry. And we are here for the women's division. Final match, the New Zealand Ultimate Championships Division 1 at Ngā Puna, Christchurch, the Sports Hub. My name, as always, is Blair Munro.
My name is Rachel Siahani-Royal.
And we are so pleased and privileged to bring you the coverage of this final match between the fast Blueberries based out of Auckland and Ellipsis from Australia. Both of these teams have had a long run to get them here. Ellipsis putting 4 points difference in their semi-final match over last year's winners Nexus Affinity. 14-10 finish for the side from Australia. Blueberries against Cannons.
And this is a return to the finals for Blueberries after last year in the finals placing second. So they'll be excited for another chance at the gold place this year. We have Blueberries on the sideline at the moment with a very loud circle. They have been hyping themselves up, and they are looking hot and fiery right now.
7 Ellipsis players already taking the line.
Ellipsis running a smaller roster than Blueberries at the moment, although they definitely know how to run around. We had an excellent showcase game last night, a mixed game. Ellipsis putting up a team against representatives from New Zealand, which was a very tight game, in which I think New Zealand ended up coming out on top, but it was a close one.
Now, Rachel, not only are you joining us in the commentary booth, but you're also playing in the Division 2 tournament. You'll be leaving us partway through this match to go and play in your own final, I believe, with the Spring Chickens. Just while we're waiting for this point to start off, how has your tournament gone so far?
It's been a good tournament for us. We are a team that's just come together for the weekend, so it was definitely a rusty start. However, we've got some players on the team who have decades of experience, longer than I've even been playing, so we have a wealth of knowledge to fall back on there. So it's been exciting. We're just ready for the final.
Awesome, good to hear, and cannot wait to see how that final unfolds for you. But in the meantime, Menzies with the pull for the Blueberries to come out on defense.
Now, Blair, do you know if Blueberries and Ellipsis have played each other yet?
I'm not sure. I don't know yet. Slight overthrow from Egan Griffiths to Itoyo. Is going to give the disc to Blueberries.
Inches away from that disc, Itoyo was.
A great layout attempt, but not quite going to be enough. We have Wandorp to pick up an initiate as Blueberries come out in a horizontal stack, supported by Emma Menzies.
We have a deceiving wind running from the right-hand side of the screen to the left-hand side of the screen at the moment. It feels very slight, but it is there.
Bender to Tan to Wandorp, trying to hit Tan, but is it going to come back inbounds? No.
And the Ellipsis defender, Fung, decidedly pushing that out of bounds, ensuring that D.
That is the benefit of playing on defense, is that you don't really have to stay in bounds. Those offenders, they need to keep toes in bounds if they want to reach for the disc. And if you're on defense, you can just run the disc down, as Fung demonstrated for us there, very, very explosively.
We have a vertical stack from Ellipsis. No cuts yet, but we have another initiating cut from Itoyo. She looks to be running a lot this game. Looking forward to watching it. Ooh.
Wetherall gets the disc, but takes a tumble.
Dolan on her back there a little bit, or quite a lot as it is.
After that initiating cut from Itoyo.
So that throw just coming a little to the infield lane, meaning that Wetherall and Dolan both are trying to make a bid on it. They're discussing it now. Luckily, Wetherall seems to be up and ready to run again.
Looks like that foul is accepted. Wetherall resets to Egan Griffiths.
We have a deep cut coming. Ellipsis deciding to keep it safe, and Egan Griffiths then puts it.
It's going to be Pigeon and Menzies. Pigeon to come down with that one.
A very decisive take by Pigeon there.
Great pressure by Menzies, but it's not ellipsis
And that is a hold for Ellipsis to open the game up.
A great first point for the side from Australia. Ellipsis not having won a national championship since 2019. Which
ours or theirs?
Ours, sorry. Which admittedly probably more to do with COVID necessarily than sending a weak roster.
Won or entered?
Yes. Just great work by Egan Griffiths. She's really just such a threatening thrower, such a great handler for the Ellipsis side, putting it well out into space. Pigeon goes up with one hand.
So we have one New Zealand player on the Ellipsis team, Weatherall, who we saw last point, living in Wellington usually, however has been playing for Ellipsis for a few years now, including at the World Ultimate Club Championships.
Emma Whitlock with the disc finds Meg Lake Armstrong on the near sideline. We see a zone defense from the Ellipsis side.
Blueberries easily finding holes in this zone so far.
Huang and Charlesworth working on that far sideline.
Really precise throwing lanes from Blueberries here.
Goes up and over to find Whitlock despite a great attempt by Lee.
And an excellent take there by Lamb, choosing to dump to Whitlock. Whitlock looking to her downfield, asking for something. Lamb again. And an inside shot there. And an excellent attempt by Armstrong there, Blake Armstrong, to keep that in, but unable to keep her toes inside the field and also catch the disc.
Great pressure on her shoulder by Natalie Otten for the Ellipsis defense. Just a big shout out to Ella Lamb, who has been doing such amazing work not only this season but also in the previous mixed season. Just huge amounts of work both defensively and just opening up the midfield for any team that she's on, as is clearly on display here.
And we see the deep cutter 95 asking for that disc, instead going to 43, which is Kara, and rewarding Otten there with the score. Ellipsis gathering round, celebrating that break.
A huge, huge early lead for Ellipsis. It might seem like only 2 points, but in a game to 15, 2 points is often all you need. We're going to have to see how the Blueberries respond to this one.
And the first 2 points as well. Tough to go down that early. However, Blueberries have got plenty of time to make up those points. Plenty of time. Now we have a lot of streaks deep from the Ellipsis team. They have got a lot of their players can throw those long shots. They're going to be looking for that all day. Stretch the Blueberries, run them, tire them out, and keep them chasing after them.
So we see Weatherall back on the field for this defensive point.
Blueberry signaling their readiness.
I believe that's Pong with the disc for the pole.
Whitlock back on the handling line here with Leong. Another zone from Ellipsis.
A great inside forehand to break through that, bouncing the disc off Huang to Melody Yong. Puts a high outside shot, but it's Weatherall who's going to eat that up.
And Blueberries have fallen into match here. Quickly picking up players. Lots of space under. She's going to be wanting some undercuts there.
Fung to Valancourt. Close to the near sideline. Itoyo's got it. A lot of separation. Huang slowly closes in, but she's able to slip one past to Carr.
Ellipsis putting a lot of pressure on their handlers. They quite often are in a 1-6. There's no obvious dump, but a lot of the time they have under streaks providing that dump for them. They don't need a handler in that handler space necessarily. Ellipsis very creative with their space.
Valancourt trying to get around Yong, always active on the mark.
And no cutter in that space, unfortunately, for Ellipsis.
So great pressure from the Blueberries to shut down that space. It looked like a kind of medium to high stall count. The shot went wide, hoping someone was going to run onto it, but without that communication, the disc finds the turf, and the Blueberries have an opportunity here to put a point on the board.
So we see, I think, an arrowhead here from the Ellipsis. So we've got 3 players up the front, and then 3 down the back. And one of those wings coming up to get an easy, not an easy D, pressure D on that Blueberries player.
It was a great hammer attempt, but Yong wasn't able to get hands to it.
To pick up the disc.
So close to the end zone. One pass away. We have it. It's Eva Weatherall
Weatherall with some fancy footwork there to get her feet into the end zone. And we see their celebration from Ellipsis again. And a timeout called by Blueberries, who have gone down 3-0 at the moment. We see again Ellipsis able to identify players who are being unmarked even amongst that cluster. So looking to that front corner, not needing to swing it around, ready for a quick conversion there.
So it's an interesting thing. The Blueberries have sort of, I guess as a club, as an institution, they've got about 5 or 6 years under their belt. Their 5-year plan most of the time has been to bring a team a gold medal. And we've seen them make the finals quite a few times now. And things just fall apart for them right towards the end. So, Rachel, if you were in that situation, if you were in that huddle, what adjustments would you make? What kind of, what pep talk would you be giving to try and remind them, hey, we're here for a reason. Not only are we here for a reason, but we've earned our spot here. We've fought for it.
I think it's difficult to change too much in a huddle and a timeout. The Blueberries team is well known for training really intensely over the course of the season. They'll be reflecting on their whole season, not just this tournament, not just this day, not just this game. They've put in the work together. They've supported each other through early morning trainings, sprint sessions, hill sprints, training, scrimmaging against their other second team as well. So they'll be looking back on their experience that they've had so far this year, not just this game, I imagine. And they're very supportive of each other. Lots of friendships there in the team as well, which can support each other mentally, emotionally, and physically on the field. So I think they're going to be reinforcing those relationships.
And that's a good call. Ellipsis, on the other hand, a much, much smaller huddle. 3 on the bounce. First to break, as you might expect. They're essentially just needing to reflect on this game. Hey, we're already up by 3. We've managed to punish these Blueberries when they've made little execution errors. So it's almost like a completely different mindset between these two teams in terms of the depth of that reflection and the purpose of it. Being 3 ahead in a game like this in the final match, especially when your opponents haven't scored a point yet, the psychology is completely different.
And I imagine Ellipsis are going to be trying to reserve their energy a little bit. They're going to be looking for early turns, whereas Blueberries are able to run Ellipsis a little more. They should be happier to sit with the disc on offense, take what's given, and wait for the right chance and the clean, open opportunity for them to score or work it down the field. So I'd be hoping to see Blueberries wanting to run the Ellipsis team a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think especially considering that there's sort of 2 major components. One, as you point out, the Blueberries have put in so much work of the season, constantly exercising together, training together. Their conditioning is impeccable. And they've got a much wider roster. They've got more legs available to them, so they can afford to spend a little bit more on each point, knowing they've got the subs to support them as Meg Lake Armstrong fields the pull.
Oh, and an early turn, what Ellipsis were looking for. That was a smart D by them. They had their eyes on the disc at all times there. They weren't just watching their players. A responsive match from Blueberries.
Fung with the disc, manages to get one up line to Mandy Lee with a big backhand to Pong for the score. 4-0 Ellipsis over Blueberries.
And a nice break there from, I believe it was Pigeon or, Pang's, my apologies. Pang down the line into a small amount of space there to Fung. So what I thought Ellipsis might be looking for, a quick turn and an early opportunity to score. They'll be happy with that.
That is what they say. The torch that burns the brightest burns the shortest. And so it could very well be that Ellipsis are trying to apply pressure, knowing that they maybe don't want to take this game into the very, very late stages when that fatigue starts to set in, not just physically, but also the mentality, the decision-making. By generating these turns early and being able to close quickly, maybe they're hoping for sort of an early round knockout so they don't have to be tested by the Blueberries' conditioning in the later stages of the game.
And additionally, it is heating up here. We've got the sun out. There's not a lot of wind. It's likely to get very hot when you're running around on this field.
Great pull from the Ellipsis. There's a lot of float there. It's going to be fielded by Menzies early.
To Weindorp. We see a very deep stack here. Blueberries, perhaps they were expecting a zone. Oh, an excellent take by O'Leary. Reaching around her defender.
Itoyo marking wide. Great bid.
Ooh, and we have an Ellipsis player who might have gotten hit in the head with some cleats there.
Pigeon on a great bid there.
And it looks like from the replay, she got clipped in the head by Bender. Unintentional, of course, as part of her D. A great bid, but unfortunately got caught under the feet.
Unsure exactly what the nature of the injury was. Did see her head come forward a little bit in the replay.
Hopefully we have someone on the sidelines looking to see if the physio is needed or some ice potentially. We have Pigeon walking off.
An amazing player for the Ellipsis side who's just done so much, receiving in the midfield space, in the deep space. A real shame to see her have to come off the field like that.
We see some Blueberries players on the sideline here supporting Pigeon as well, which is lovely to see.
We're going to have Lee take the field in place of Pigeon. Egan Griffiths is going to pick up the disc. Itoyo pulls that one down for the Ellipsis score.
And we see that being chased by the Blueberries, but it was really well placed by the Ellipsis player and an excellent receiver, Itoyo. We've seen her, I think 2 or 3 of these points now have been hers.
Absolutely.
Super fast.
Just a huge threat all over the field. We've seen her do a lot of core handling throughout the tournament for Ellipsis. Confidence with the disc, comfortable 40-plus meter throws, but also a real threat as she pushes deep into the end zone. Well ahead of the player assigned to marker.
Which takes us to 5-0 for Ellipsis. So Ellipsis not scared of shooting down the line. They've done that quite a few times now. Obviously, they know that their throws are drilled and they're able to hit the spot that they want to hit. And they're not worried about it floating out the side. We see Blueberries chatting on the line. One of their players talking them through their next offensive point.
Pong with the big pull. Whitlock chasing that one down. Quick center to Huang as we see a zone defense by the Ellipsis side. Menzies with a big fake.
We see these what could be called wing players in the zone from Ellipsis really happy to come up into the handler space.
Menzies for Charlesworth and the score. Blueberries are on the board.
And that was a beautiful look. That was an easy shot, well, an easy looking take by Charlesworth.
Just a really well-led pass by Menzies. Nice backhand from the far sideline to come cross field.
Over the defenders that might have been there, right into the hands of her receiver, Charlesworth. She recognizes that quickly before the mark can get in her way and shoots that off.
Huge chase down by Otten.
Big celebrations by Blueberries. They're on the board. They'll be hungry for another.
It's interesting to see these two teams. They're quite well matched in terms of stature. So there's not a huge amount of height throughout the team, but there's a couple of players on each side that do have a little bit more length, a sort of a longer stride. And so getting to see some more of these one-on-one matchups is going to be quite exciting as the rest of the game unfolds.
We see Menzies with the pull here in her bright orange cap. It's always a good way to be recognized on stream.
What a great shot. Egan Griffiths gets it early.
And we see a zone now from Blueberries and a piece from Bender on the disc.
What a touch, and secured This is what the Blueberries need. Menzies to approach, marked by Itoyo.
Menzies looking downfield, engaging her dump, which is taking down, a turn, unfortunately. Calls from the sideline to get it back from the Blueberries.
Fung.
Quickly surrounded by the handler marks for the Blueberries. Fung working the middle, however, just thrown behind her.
I think we technically count that as a foot block by Crystal Tan. Looked like it did touch cleat before it touched the grass. Menzies to pick up at the halfway line. Huge moves to shift the mark. Crystal Tan tries to go up and get it. Just outside.
Tan possibly also thinking about the sideline. That's very close there. So another chance for Ellipsis here. The zone reforming around them. Big hammer for Carr, unable to pull it in.
She had a hand to it. Was a great read on that disc, but
she's moving backwards while trying to receive the disc makes it more difficult.
It's a hard line to follow as you're jogging backwards underneath it. Sarah Chow, number 6.
And a zone by the looks of it from Ellipsis.
Goes wide to Bender as Menzies pulls the defense out of position. Comes back for the disc to keep the stall count low.
We see 2 handler marks here from Ellipsis trying to pressure pressure the throws that are going into the middle, trying to force it towards the middle defenders. Which means there's always going to be an open dump for Blueberries. So they need to make sure that they're being clinical about what shots they're taking, and if the shot isn't ready or on, choosing their dump instead. Big loopy pass to Chow.
Huge fake, great layout bid by Itoyo again.
Bender moving her mark, communicating with the receiver. Menzies looking for the hammer but not wanting it.
Bender with some nice give and go motion. Between gets in it.
We have a streaker, Carr, I believe, Carr running deep.
Covered by Tan. Tan head over shoulder, waiting to see if it comes. Egan Griffiths puts it big. Carr's got it.
By the fingertips for Carr. Tan running back onto the field.
Valancourt with the disc.
You see Blueberries, and a
great run through by Lee. Egan Griffiths isn't going to be able to pull that one in.
You saw Blueberries flooding the end zone there to try and defend it, which was a smart move by them. Supported by their players in the outfield too.
Chow calling for Menzies.
And Egan Griffiths able to pressure that on a drop by Dolan.
Egan Griffiths working with Valancourt. There's no one there to stop it.
Right on the corner now. Only a few meters out for Egan Griffiths.
Tries to force the inside out around Dolan, but it's not going to happen.
A great pivot, but it looked like it may have came off her fingers a little bit late. Swings wide. Menzies with the disc again.
Ellipsis zone. It's taking a while to work through. Has to lose some yards to Chow. Bender to Menzies.
Working their way out of the end zone. Dolan popping it to Mace. A nice take from Bender. She's up again quickly, able to recover. There's a big pocket on this close side to the field.
Yeah, but Evil Weatherall poaching off,
perhaps
taking up that middle space. Too much of a threat. Great run through by Egan Griffiths.
Who then goes to pick up the disc and call a timeout.
Veteran call.
In the heat of the sun at the moment, I'm sure that this will be a welcome break for both teams. So Blueberries have some fans in the stands at the moment. The Ellipsis team, possibly fewer people supporting them considering that they are out of their home country. However, there is the Ellipsis men's team currently attending this tournament as well, so potentially able to support their women's team as well.
Great layout there by Bender.
And this just being read by Egan Griffiths, who comes through screaming in the opposite direction. in a safety there.
Such a threatening defender. And that's one of the things that I think the Ellipsis defense is doing incredibly well. So particularly with the zone, they've got some players who are very, very active and explosive, not just in the deep space, but also in the mid. So I think there were a couple of times where I think Sarah Chow, maybe Emma Menzies had the disc right at the front of the end zone. They had players in that midfield, sort of, I think Anna Dolan might have been semi-free, but as soon as they wind up that forehand to maybe unleash it, you just see the shadow of Eva Weatherall stretch out across the field, and all of a sudden that throw just looks a lot less viable. And I think particularly after a block like that, Egan Griffiths is going to start having that same kind of presence. We're going to have to start taking into account where she is relative to our players before we start taking shots. And that's exactly what Ellipsis is kind of hoping for. Just eating up a couple seconds in terms of decision making. A give and go pass is really sort of quick. You're not looking to actually have a stall count in place. The passes are just chained together one after the other. When you start to take those away with a zone, you start trying to look for longer options. If you can just add a couple of seconds before that shot comes off, starts to eat up the time, the pressure starts to build, and that's where those mistakes happen.
Especially when you are playing a zone and you have the defensive players in the handler space, they need time to reposition themselves. And when you have those downfield defensive players sharking around a little bit, it allows that time. So we have Ellipsis currently looking to set up. They've got a few players quite deep, Weatherall and Carr. Carr, who's back on the field after taking an injury sub earlier. Good to see. Good strong head, obviously. And we see Blueberries setting up in a zone.
Goes over the top. Fung between. Back to between. Laylee Bender tries to shut that one down, supported by Mace. Couple of fakes, and it's Egan Griffiths going long. Manages to hit Carr open in the end zone. Ellipsis 6, Blueberries 1. Just great work there by Ellipsis.
Blueberries are able to get some turns off of Ellipsis, though, so they should be looking at that. They should be pleased with that. They should be saying, what have we been doing right when we've been getting turns? How can we recreate that? What are the weaknesses that we can exploit here?
That's exactly it. It's not as though Ellipsis are playing perfectly. There are cracks in their armor, and the Blueberries have managed to get a fingernail, a toe hold in some of those cracks, but once they've generated that turn, that inability to convert, it gives the disc back to Ellipsis, and Ellipsis are very, very quick to shell those up to stop those mistakes happening again in each point. So Blueberries need to start hammering away, finding particular things that they can punish, that they're able to capitalize heavily on to generate those turns, and then force those turns to continue.
We see Whitlock to pick up the disc. Ellipsis obviously happy with their zone, pulling it out again.
Huang and Whitlock.
A big mark here, stopping the dump, forcing it a long throw to Lake Armstrong. And a great read by Lamb, not scared from those footsteps you could hear behind her.
Finds Yong, center field. Goes wide to Whitlock, to Huang. Big hammer to Lake Armstrong.
Big space in the middle for Lake Armstrong. We see Huang again with the disc, their captain, the Blueberries captain, looking for the hammer.
There it is. Lake Armstrong for the score. Blueberries 2, Ellipsis 6.
Lake Armstrong has spent a couple months here, over from Minnesota, where she lives with her husband. Coming to spend the summer here to escape the snow. And we get to see that hammer again from the Blueberries captain. Open in space. Lake Armstrong possibly able to sneak into the end zone from the handler space. You see the sideline coach there directing her players on the Blueberries team.
Great work by the Blueberries. We're going to come out on defense. Wandorp, Bender, Mace, Tan, Leong, O'Leary, and Menzies.
It'll be interesting to see if the Blueberries are going to maintain that zone. The Ellipses have been good about spreading their handlers out, having 4 handlers back, but also making sure that they're able to get upfield movement as well. So trying to swing around the shape of the Blueberry zone that's taking up the middle space.
Great put by Emma Menzies. Huge chase. It looks like there is going to be another zone. We've got Bender taking out the deep space as Eva Weatherall threatens the end zone. Egan Griffiths puts it up anyway.
And Carr takes that down, able to hold on to that through ground contact.
How did she hold on to that one? Quick reset to Valancourt on the doorstep. Pressured by Mace, but she's able to go back, find Egan Griffiths. A quick motion throw. Bouncing the disc off Valancourt.
Blueberries looking to maintain their zone at the moment, even at the front doorstep of the zone.
Toyo leaves the zone to provide a safe reset option.
Toyo looking for the zone again. Egan Griffiths with the disc, surveying her space.
That's gonna be Carr with the score. Ellipsis 1 away from taking half.
Again, Ellipsis happy to just force it down the sideline that they're on, knowing that they can shoot around the defensive players from Blueberries there and find their receiver. You see this take by Carr. It looked like she'd rolled over the disc almost. Hopefully it's in good shape still. Great diving catch. So we see Carr just waiting in that back corner until she's available, and despite the Blueberry pressure, able to toe that in. So Ellipses are now potentially could, if they can score this next point, could take half. So they are 1 point away from half. Blueberries are going to be looking to stop that from happening.
So a crucial Blueberry hold maybe on the cards for us.
Ellipsis signaling they're ready. Big pull from Pang there. It's floating down, hitting about just shy of the brick mark.
You can see the effect that the wind starts to have as the disc actually falls a little bit back towards the midline. We're definitely seeing this big zone. Another big hammer from Huang. Finds the hands of Menzies. Back to Lake Armstrong.
Egan Griffiths already on the look for the next D. Menzies with the disc now.
In motion, managing to eat up huge chunks of the field.
These Blueberries handlers knowing where each other is going to be.
Lake Armstrong to Lamb for the score.
That was some quick movement by Blueberries.
That is what the Blueberries needed. Great work by Ella Lamb to reel that one in, just recognizing where the vulnerabilities in the Ellipsis defense were.
Great timing by Lamb to be able to time her cut off when Lake Armstrong was going to be receiving that.
We'll see that again. Menzies just eating up huge chunks. Just such good disc movement.
Good patience by Whitlock, not looking downfield for too long. And then we see this cut by Lamb. A little chop step to put off her defender. Secured easily by her.
And again, it's just that explosive first step, pulling the defense. I think the defense there maybe tried to disc check while trying to sort of body follow Lamb. And so just the aggressiveness, the aggression intensity on that step was enough. Just catch the defender a little bit off balance, which generated some separation for a nice score for the Blueberries.
We see the Ellipsis men's team in the stand at the moment. Menzies with another pull. And we'll see what Blueberries are planning on defense. It looks like it could be another
Great
zone.
touch inbounds. So there's no brick there. It's a great position for the Blueberries to start from. Between working with Fung, Weatherall.
Fung again with the disc. They're moving quickly. They're Itoyo now, dumping to Weatherall. This fast, small ball movement is working for them through these through the zone.
Mace aggressive on the mark. Big hammer fake, and it's Lee getting in front of it. What a great block there. Just what the Blueberries needed. Are they going to be able to generate a break here? Can they stop Ellipsis from taking half?
Ellipsis lining up their match defense. Weindorp with the shot to Dolan. It threw a lot of traffic.
Dolan to Menzies, to Mace for the score. Huge there for the fast Blueberries.
Blueberries catching Ellipsis off guard there. Blueberries using that break side really well. Able to keep ahead of the defensive players from Ellipsis.
There definitely is a slight increase in physicality of this game towards the tournament. A reminder for those watching at home, Ultimate is a non-contact sport. So players need to be very, very mindful of the lines that they take to avoid contact with others. However, at the end of a 3-day tournament for some of these Div 1 players, it's a huge, huge amount of fatigue that's setting in. It makes it a little bit harder to maintain that body control. That's not to excuse it, just to explain it. But the Blueberries going to come out on defense. Menzies long overdue for a sub, if you ask me.
We saw Menzies time that scoring throw really well last point. She saw her cutter mace going deep. She held it back just by a half second or 1 second, put it up, knowing it was going to land right in the hands of her receiver in the end zone.
Just such a well-put throw. You love to see it.
O'Leary has been given the disc by Menzies for the pull. So that's the first break by Blueberries. They're going to be wanting to put another on the board, hold out half for as long as possible until they can potentially take it themselves. And the disc is up for Ellipsis. And the disc is out of the sideline, so Ellipsis have called brick. Egan Griffiths taking it up to the brick mark. We have a little arrowhead shape zone here from Blueberries. Clara placing herself right in the middle of this. The Ellipsis players are really deep. It looks like they're relying on their handlers to get it to them. Yes, and
what a huge block by Bender.
Perhaps some players there, Ellipsis. Oh, and we have a call on the field.
So we might get a chance to see that again.
Potentially an injury there from on the Ellipsis team. She looks to be. There's two Ellipsis players here. And Bender comes right in the middle, and it looks like she clips the legs of the Ellipsis player. We see Otten just hitting the ground kind of funnily there. The players are still discussing it on the sideline. We're indicating that there may be a perspective on the sideline that could help out with resolving this call. Discussion dragging on a little bit. The players will be looking to resolve this a bit, quite soon to keep the game moving.
A great shot. Really, really hard to tell, but luckily for us in the commentary booth, it is for the players to resolve.
Looks like Bender came around the right-hand side of Otten there, so it might have been a bid that she wouldn't have been able to make without contact. That may have been what the players are talking about. High stakes for both teams. We're having an indication here of a foul. Now this discussion going on for a while. Hopefully the Spirit captains or captains getting involved to resolve it. And
Looks
we're
like
having
they're going
contested.
to contest, yeah. So one of the benefits of a game like Ultimate, players have the opportunity to contest calls, which means that there's no real benefit to cheating or incidenting fouls.
Just going back now.
Yeah. So the play will return to the last uncontested play, which is going to be Egan Griffiths with the disc on the far sideline.
I think it's important that the players make calls in good faith. You can't be expecting anyone to break the rules on either team. I feel like that makes the rules fall apart a little bit, which can be tough when everyone's adrenaline is pumping and it's the finals and hearts are racing. So I see the disc coming back in by Egan Griffiths.
Are we going to see that same look? She knows Bender's there now. She comes wide. Finds Otten on an undercut. Quick reset to Egan Griffiths.
Looks like Otten's running okay after that little spill.
Tan with the disc. Egan Griffiths pressured by the sideline trap of Menzies and Ling. Blady forehand across. Finds Lee to Witherall.
Back to Egan Griffiths, who's controlling a lot of this offensive play here. Right on the end zone now. Are we going to see another score right in front of the player, in front of the Egan Griffiths? Forced to swing to the other side. Bender in the mix. And a Ellipsis receiver, 43, I believe, Kara.
That's Nicola Cara with the disc, the score, and the half for Ellipsis as they go 8-4 over the fast Blueberries from Auckland. Some great Trans-Tasman Ultimate here on display. But we will be back with you in a very short while as we take a break at the Ngā Puna Wai Sports Hub in Christchurch. My name is Blair Monroe.
My name is Rachel Sihani Royal.
This is the final match of the Women's Division for the New Zealand Ultimate Championships Division 1. Brought to you by ULTI.TV, and we will be back with you very soon.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI.TV. ULTILeague.net.
Let's do DOMs.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Yeah,
I try not to say a lot of player names.
Just, yeah, if you can. Do what you can. And we are back for the second half of the final match in the 2023 Ultimate Championships at Ngā Puna Wai. Fortunate enough to swap one Rachel for another. My name is Blueberries and I am joined by the effervescent, the inimitable Rachel Larkin here in the commentary booth. Say hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It is an absolute pleasure. Always wonderful to hear your voice, but you haven't really had the opportunity to watch the first half of this game. You've been focusing on some other matches for your team, the Beybladies, and looking at some of the Division 2. Ellipsis currently up by 4 over Blueberries at halftime.
They look like they're putting on a fight, but I really hope Blueberries be able to get a couple of points on the board, really hustle and really try to get those discs.
And that great zone defense from Ellipsis we see. I think Itoyo getting a block there as Huang tried to thread one through. It's Egan Griffiths. And that looks to be the move. A huge early hold, break possibly, as Ellipsis put one on the board.
Yeah, that was actually quite a beautiful play by Ellipsis there. They did the swing quite early, and then she saw that space, took it, and really attacked it, and was open for days.
Yeah, just wide open. And that's one of the tough things, especially when you're playing against a zone and you're trying to thread something through. You try and hit a really small window. The opposition managed to get a turn early, and they're quick to switch onto offense. You're often out of position, and so you will have really quick breaks like that, especially with an explosive player like Itoyo, who can just target that open space without a moment's hesitation.
And sometimes that can really make or break a game. If you're finding that space, you're attacking it, you're really looking for those open players and being really smart when it turns to be your head in the game and really onto it.
So Pong with the pull as it fades toward the far sideline. Whitlock near sideline now playing against the Ellipsis zone. Looks back to find Emma Menzies, who has been integral to the Blueberries' performance so far. Manages to bait a huge layout from Mandy Lee. Pressured by the zone.
And we have a call here, a violation call, it looks like it.
Unsure as to the nature of the call. Looks like disc width possibly. So just a reminder for those at home, probably a less utilized rule. Players aren't really allowed to crowd the player with the disc, so they have to give a disc's width. It's Natalie Otten who eats that blade up. It's quickly switching across to find Carr. Pong pressured, but Tan is able to pull that one down. Lasers through the middle.
Another middle shot.
Fung to Pang, pushing towards the far sideline.
Creeping up into the end zone there. Looking to swing.
There's a huge hammer. Whitlock's underneath it, but not enough. It's Carr putting another one on the point early. Great break to bring Ellipsis within 5 of a victory.
I've seen the Blueberries play over the course of the weekend, and even though if they're down now, I'm pretty sure they'll bring it back up. Like this could be a really, really close game.
It absolutely could. I know it looks a little wide at the moment. 10-4, Ellipsis up over Blueberries. One of the things that I mentioned earlier on in the game is the idea that Ellipsis are really, really effective at generating generating scores off a quick break. Recognizing that with a sort of smaller roster, they probably don't want to take this match into the later stages. The Blueberries, with a larger number of subs and the amazing conditioning work that they put in as a team over the course of a season, if the Blueberries are able to slow them down, they might be able to gas out Ellipsis and use that to start swinging back heavy in the other direction. But you don't get to the Division 1 New Zealand Ultimate Championships without having that grind mentality. That ability to just dig deep, leave it all behind, run the tank below empty physically if you have to. We're going to see Egan Griffiths with the disc. For a roller pull, we haven't seen one of those in a little while. Tries to get it to curve out towards the far sideline, but it rolls back in.
Beautiful pop through that cup there. And a swing again by the Blueberries team.
Weyendorp to Bender. Back to Weyendorp. Unmarked, finds Huang with the disc. The Ellipsis zone.
Oh, and a hammer and a beautiful layout.
Flat hammer over the top. Crystal Tan keeps that one in hands.
I love how these ladies are really fighting to keep that disc alive, really putting their bodies on the line.
Absolutely. Just such intensity from these women. It's so fantastic to see. Weyendorp with a little step jump. Bounces to Huang. Mace wide open in the end zone, but with the zone defense, there's a lot of pressure there. Are they going to be able to get the disc that far? Finds O'Leary. A little awkward on the turn there, so she's not able to get into a good position to pull that disc down. Valancourt with the disc. Driving the offense here, working with Egan Griffiths. Fung to Weatherall with a big fake, trying to shift the defense out of the way. Egan Griffiths to Valancourt again. There's the big forehand.
And it's a score by Ellipsis.
Itoyo yet again 4 away from a win. Great bid by Bender. Good recognizing where the target was. Great movement towards the disc, but just not enough. We're going to see a timeout called. As we enter the 56th minute of a 90-minute game. Currently a race to 15. Now, Rachel, if you're in that Blueberries huddle, you're down by 7 points at the moment. The second half has not really started to go your way. What are you doing in terms of mindset? If you're in that circle, you're trying to think, how do I get everyone revved up? I know we've got the energy. I know we've got the skills. Something's missing. How do we pull it all together to stage that comeback that all of the Blueberries want to see?
Well, sometimes when you're down a couple of points, like, it's really bringing that big Blueberry energy back into that game, getting everyone back into the hype mode, really putting 100% into that game, putting 100% onto that field, and really maximising those points. And you can hear them very loud from here as well, so they're definitely trying to bring that hype into this game.
And we will see if it is enough after the timeout. We're going to see the Blueberries come out on offense yet again. Lake Armstrong, Lamb, Lee, Whitlock, Yong, Charlesworth, and Huang to take the offensive line for the Blueberries.
And they're definitely a crowd favourite at the moment. You can definitely hear the stands cheering them on.
It's something that we have wanted to see since the inception of Blueberries as a club. They have talked over and over about wanting to walk away with a gold medal at Nationals. They've made the finals a few times now. I think 3 years in a row they've managed to make the final match. The question is, are they going to be able to pull it together and put a win up over the very impressive, very aggressive Australian Ellipsis?
At this stage, it's really how much each team wants it, how much they want to actually get that medal, get that trophy at the end of the day.
Yeah, when the tanks are spent, who's going to dig deepest?
And especially playing all weekend, they're in reserves at the moment, and you can, yeah, they're really fighting for it.
It's almost too difficult to tell how gassed they are with the intensity that they're still bringing. Whitlock on a great upline, building momentum, finds Meg Lake Armstrong. Ellipsis zone.
But the Berries are finding a couple of pockets through that. But definitely looking like a very, very tight zone by the Ellipsis team.
So aggressive, intense on the mark. Ella Lamb manages to take yards. Finds Lee. Lake Armstrong to Huang on the far sideline. Some good patient offense. Whitlock gets it. They've broken through the zone. They've put the shot up.
And Charlesworth for the goal. She is definitely happy about that.
She put the first point on in the first half. She's put the first point on for the Blueberries in the second half. That's exactly what they needed. Whatever the Blueberries spoke about in that timeout has clearly worked for them. They've come out firing. They've been intense but patient. Sort of very quiet and calm, but also quite forceful, very intentional at their offense. Some great passes. No unnecessary risks being taken, but recognizing windows and trying to get the disc through them. Just really, really great offense to see.
It looks like we've got a very strong Ellipsis line on again for the defensive point.
Just seeing Eva Witherall and Georgia Egan Griffiths, always the threat, just in terms of the height, but also Carr, Valancourt, some just great players on that Ellipsis side. And so we're going to see a zone set up by the Blueberries, but Egan Griffiths confident working around it.
Very nice handler movement from the Ellipsis team.
Between gets the disc, far sideline, getting signaled by Egan Griffiths to look towards the far sideline. Runs a route behind. Olivia Carr helping to keep the disc alive. A nice wide shot to Valancourt, wide open, no Blueberry in sight. Egan Griffiths stepping through. Valancourt again, they're getting pressure towards the near sideline, but now she's within range.
Oh, and just slightly out of reach by number 16 there.
Wandorp goes crossfield, finds him, Menzies. Great bid by Mace, but it's not going to be enough. Valancourt has it, goes around to Egan Griffiths. Open, not pressured. She wants the hammer.
She wants the hammer.
Egan Griffiths again.
And
there
there's the
it
hammers
is.
to Wetherall and brings it down very cleanly.
A beautiful throw. That hammer was poetry in motion, blurring the line between physical and lyrical. Just so fantastic to see as Ellipsis put another point on the board. 7 up over the Blueberries 5. Well done to Wetherall for that score. You could see the hammer meter in Egan Griffith's mind slowly filling up. 50, 70. Managed to get the reset. It went all the way to the 100. She just had to pull the trigger on it. Great bid by Menzies, but Eva Wetherall just too dominant in the deep space. You know, Rachel, I'm afraid I'm starting to like this Ellipsis team a lot more and more as the tournament goes on. Definitely a fair weather fan.
They definitely have brought their A game today. They have definitely been an Australian team. They've come out really wanting to win this. And it's actually really nice to see. It's a beautiful game of Frisbee.
Yong gets the disc in midfield, working against the Ellipsis zone. Like Armstrong.
Oh, and Charlesworth just misses it with that layout. Just slightly out.
And this is the biggest issue with a game like this. Ellipsis are not going to be keen to give the disc back. Wetherall has it near sideline. The Blueberries are scrambling to shut down the offense. Goes back, finds Lee. One over the top to Pung. She's within range. To Lee, over the top with the backhand. Finds Fung. To Pong for the score. Ellipsis 13, Blueberries 5.
So it looks like we're having a bit of a hype line at the moment with all the Blueberries players heading over to support the rest of the team.
But that is often what is needed. The team that can create that energy can do impossible things. They can stage ridiculous comebacks. Although 8 points in this one. The Blueberries might have to wait another year.
Right now, he's going to have to bid. Just a football.
Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed.
Swing pass and a great grab there from Spear.
It's just Bance, right? And we are back after that short break. It is just Bance. Ellipsis from Australia, 13 points to Blueberries 5. Blueberries based out of Auckland, New Zealand. their A team. They've managed to expand the club, put together 2 teams. The Furious Blueberries are playing in the Division 2 Ultimate Championships as we speak. Blueberries about to break the huddle after a timeout. Ellipsis players already prepped and ready to go. 2 breaks away from a gold medal for the side from Australia.
Definitely got some sideline support there as well.
Egan Griffiths one more time. Run it back. Between Itoyo, Ka, some great players on this Ellipsis defensive line.
Another roller. Straight out to the sideline there.
And it's going to be Lee to pick up and initiate where the disc left the field. So this is a great opportunity. Whitlock crashing into the defensive cup. Puts a huge shot up looking for Charlesworth.
And she brings it down again. Beautiful floaty forehand right into that back corner. Charlesworth just holding space. It was definitely a good point. She's definitely going to be celebrating tonight.
A huge downfield asset for the fast Blueberries. Kate Charlesworth scoring 3 of the Blueberries' 6 points at the moment. A full half of their end zone receptions have been through the number 68, Kate Charlesworth. What a threat. She's almost unstoppable, and a fantastic wood burner as it happens.
I did not know that at all.
The more you know. It's quite often difficult to sort of see athletes performing at this level and thinking that they have lives outside of Ultimate, the commitment that it takes to hone the skills on display, and yet every single one of these players, presumably, lives a deep and rich and fulfilling internal life. Our most fervent hope for them.
And now we have Blueberries on defense. With Menzies pulling.
Great pull by Menzies. Lamb with a great sprint down the field, hoping to be the first in position, but the signal from Egan Griffiths that it will be bricked. The pull touching down out of bounds.
So that means it's brought back into the middle of the field where it will resume play from there.
So we are seeing Ellipsis set up in a horizontal stack as the wind starts to pick up. Carr pulls that down, Egan Griffiths.
With the wind picking up, it really changes the game. You have to get those throws very, very pinpoint. You have to have the angle on the disc exactly right, or it just bobbles and goes.
Absolutely, and so seeing Egan Griffiths have to change things up a little bit. It's Carr hoping to finish this off, doing a lot more signaling for what kind of plays they want.
And at the moment we have
I believe it might be a straddle call.
A straddle call?
That does look to have been caught and then jumped in. We'll see again. That's the way to finish it off. Ellipsis run that one back. And it's Egan Griffiths who gets the jump in this time. 14 over Fast Blueberries 6. The door slowly closing. Ellipsis needing only one more point to walk away with a win as we hit 70 minutes into our 90-minute cap. Just some great give-go, upline, indoor nonsense. So the Ellipsis defenders, for what they hope will be the last time, we are seeing Pigeon back on the field. Thankfully, hopefully her injury earlier in the match wasn't too severe. Hope she's doing okay. She's definitely come out for the last point if Ellipsis get their way. Supported by Otten, Pang, Fung, and Ka.
And that went literally right behind us, straight out, which was very surprising.
Huge shout out to Canterbury Ultimate for organising marquees, which just saved the lives of your humble commentators. So this is great for Blueberries, not so good for Ellipsis. They might be one shot away, one good isolation. Charlesworth making an aggressive cut. Gets the separation, but the disc goes back center field to Menzies, to Whitlock. Goes wide. Otten makes a play, but it's not going to be enough. Huang is a safe reset marked by Valancourt. Lake Armstrong hits the upline cut, not able to get it in.
And another hammer, and just slightly out of reach.
Just slightly overthrows Menzies. Great vision, great option taking. Just need to dial that in. Maybe a couple too many wheat bix this morning.
This is where now the Blueberries really need to put pressure onto that mark there and really try to get that turn back again. And there we go.
Great work by Ella Lam for the intercept. Gets one across to Coral Huang on the near sideline. Works back with Whitlock.
Blueberries taking that time on that because they didn't have a mark.
Lake Armstrong goes to ground, takes a roll right on the doorstep.
And Blueberries score. Definitely going to be celebrating that point.
Huang with the disc for the score to bring it back within 7. A long road to victory ahead for the fast Blueberries. And to the benefit of Ellipsis, they now get to play offense. This could be it. Lake Armstrong, great slide to get into position. A little backhand to Huang for the score. Menzies, Tan, O'Leary, Mace, Weyendorp. Bender and Dolan on the line for the Blueberries defense. It is a great line. So the disc is bricked.
With the wind picking up, you definitely are seeing disc heading a little bit more out than what these players would have liked it to be.
And importantly, on the far side of the field, for our next match, we can see the Ellipsis men's team and Wildcats from Wellington warming up. So it looks like Ellipsis might have pipped Group Volume 1 in their semi-final. So we'll be seeing more from them soon. Egan Griffiths puts the big shot up, looking for Itoyo, and finds her for the score and the game and the medal and the championships. What a fantastic display by this Australian side, putting a firm punctuation mark into our tournament here at Ngā Puna Sports Hub. Blueberries giving away a few too many points too early, staging a great comeback, but letting that momentum get carried away from them. It's the only Blueberry crumble that I don't look forward to. What a great final at Ngā Puna in Christchurch for our Division 1 Ultimate Championships. Rachel, how do you feel about that match?
That was definitely a game to watch. It was exciting. It just had everything you need, and it was just a game I wanted to watch.
And I'm so glad that you were able to join me in the booth to talk through the second half of that game. What an exciting second half it was. Both teams came out firing. Ellipsis walk away with it on the day. But until the next one, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Blair Munro.
And I'm Rachel Larkin.
And with the proud support of ULTI.TV, thanks very much for watching.
ULTI.TV.